Think about it. We spend hours inside our Google accounts every single day, sending emails, backing up cherished photos, writing up important documents, organizing our entire lives, really. We treat this digital space as our own private vault, but is it actually? Let's dive right into today's explainer and uncover who really holds the master keys to your digital workspace.
So do you actually know who is controlling your Google account? Sounds kind of like a mystery, right? We usually just punch in our password and assume we're the sole commanders of our digital ship. But depending on the exact email address you use to log in today, well, there might be someone else operating behind the curtain, someone with the power to see your settings, change your access, or even lock you out entirely. No way, right? Well, let's figure this out.
First things first, we need to answer a basic question. Who exactly is an administrator?
Basically, an administrator or an admin is the person who manages Google accounts and Google services for a company, a school, a college, or really any organized group. Think of them like the digital facility manager for the organization. They're not just a regular user, they're the gatekeepers. When an organization starts using Google Workspace to run their day-to-day operations, they absolutely need someone to govern how that digital space is used. And that person? That's the administrator.
And what's wild is the sheer scale of what an admin can actually do. I mean, they literally have administrator superpowers. They can magically conjure up new employee emails out of thin air when a new hire starts. They can reset passwords, which, is great. If you forget yours, they're your best friend. But it also means they have the ultimate override key. They decide exactly which Google services you are allowed to use. Want to hop on Google Chat or Google Meet? The admin has to give it the green light. They enforce strict security policies, and of course, they have the power to add or just permanently remove user accounts. It's a massive amount of control.
All right, so let's shift gears for a second and talk about your personal Gmail account.
To see how this all plays out, take a look at this email address, mpmina4821@gmail.com. This is your classic, standard, run-of-the-mill personal Google account. You probably have one just like it, right? The one ending in @gmail.com. This is the baseline we're all pretty familiar with.
Now, when you rock a personal account ending in @gmail.com, the rules are beautifully simple. You are the boss. The whole shebang is yours. You're the sole owner, the only one who can change your password, you choose your own recovery email, and you dictate your own security settings, like turning on two-factor authentication. Plus, you have absolute unfiltered control over your Google Drive, your Gmail inbox, and, yep, your YouTube viewing history. The big takeaway here? For this type of account, there's literally no administrator. Not even Google itself acts as your admin. It is 100% yours.
But things get a bit more complicated when we look at Google Workspace for companies and schools. Because what happens when we leave that personal realm and enter the professional world? The rules completely flip. Take Rahul at abccompany.com, for example. Notice the difference right away? It doesn't end in gmail.com. It ends in a custom corporate domain. When you land a new job, your employer hands you an email address that looks just like this. This is not standard Gmail, folks. This is a Google Workspace account. And this perfectly illustrates how the balance of power shifts at work. With an address like Rahul at abccompany.com, the company's IT department is your administrator. They built the account for you, which means they can absolutely close it when you leave the company. If you get locked out, IT resets your password. They are the ones deciding if you get a measly 15 gigabytes of drive storage or unlimited storage. They can even restrict your access to apps like YouTube or Google Meet during work hours. Sure, you're using the tools, but IT is holding the remote control.
And, the exact same logic applies to education. Check out student123 at school.edu. This is the exact kind of account issued to millions of students worldwide. In a school setting, the administrator might be the district's IT department or maybe even just a designated teacher. And why do they need these powers? Mostly for focus and safety. A school admin can reset a student's forgotten password so they don't miss an assignment. Super helpful. But they can also completely shut down outside Gmail access to prevent bullying or block YouTube entirely to kill classroom distractions, and centrally manage the whole thing through Google Classroom. The student uses the account, but the school definitely sets the boundaries.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, sure, that makes total sense for a massive corporation or some giant university, but what about small businesses? Well, let's look at info@xyzshop.in. Even in a small business, say a local bakery or a little boutique marketing agency, the dynamic is exactly the same. The shop owner pays for Google Workspace, and that immediately crowns the business owner as the administrator. They're the ones creating those info ad or sales ad email addresses for their staff. If an employee quits, the owner can immediately change their password and lock down the company's Google Drive so no sensitive customer data walks out the door. The scale might be a lot smaller, but the admin's role is absolutely just as critical.
So to really wrap our heads around this, let's compare your home versus your office.
This metaphor really hits the nail on the head. Think of a personal Gmail account like it's your own home. You bought it, you hold the keys, you want to paint the living room neon pink? Go for it. You can change the locks whenever you want, and you decide exactly who comes inside. Full, unrestricted control. But a Google Workspace account, that is much more like a rented office space. You might have a desk there, you might put a nice little potted plant or a family photo on that desk, but you do not own the building. The IT admin is the building manager. They decide what time the front doors lock, they control the thermostat, and if you leave the company, they're going to pack up your desk and revoke your keycard. It's a fully managed environment.
Let's break down the main differences as we wrap things up here.
Bringing all these threads together into a nice little mental checklist, comparing a personal Gmail account right next to a Workspace account makes it super clear. Gmail's personal. No admin. That means you have total control, it's completely free, and you manage your own passwords and policies. Easy. Workspace, on the other hand, is organizational. You have an admin who controls the key settings, the organization foots the bill, and that admin governs your password and enforces all the compliance policies. It's a totally different ballgame.
Which brings us to our final and probably most important thought of this explainer. Take a look at the email domain you are currently logged into on your phone or your computer right now. Go ahead, check it. Does it end in @gmail.com, meaning you're the undisputed master of your own digital house? Or does it end in a company or school name, meaning you're actually working inside a rented digital office? Knowing the difference is literally the first step in taking control of your digital privacy and security. So, who is your administrator? Thanks for hanging out and learning with me today. I'll catch you on the next explainer.